Hi, my name is Kyle Doe, and the purpose of this research presentation is to explore the impacts of artificial food dyes on people's health. You are what you eat is a saying that you might have heard people say. This quote highlights the importance of our diet on our health and well-being. While many other factors such as sleep quality, activity levels, life choices, and other things affect our health and well-being as well, managing our diet and having good eating habits is just as important, if not more. Recently, many people have been taking accountability over their health by going on diets and eating healthier, which is great. I've seen some people use tracker apps where they log everything that they eat onto the app, and it helps the person keep track of the calories and nutrients that they consume. However, these tracks are usually very limited. Many of them are only capable of tracking calories and macronutrients, that being carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Some might track a little bit more, like vitamins, fiber, and other well-known micronutrients. However, while this is a great step towards eating healthier and being healthier, a lot of people are still unaware of the synthetic food additives in their foods and the policies around them, one being synthetic food diets. So, why should you care? Well, according to a study done in 2023 that tracked data from 2001 through 2019, 60% of grocery store foods and drinks contain synthetic food additives such as synthetic food dyes. Whether or not you are made aware of these additives, you most likely have consumed a lot of it throughout your lifetime. Also, if consumed at or more than the acceptable daily intake, abbreviated to ADI, there are major health risks that can potentially be life-threatening. Before I present my research, I would like to mention the previous perspectives I've had on the topic of artificial food coloring. Before I started this project, I've seen influencers posting videos on the topic of synthetic food dyes, mainly about Red 40. I feel like I've always been against processed foods and synthetic food additives, so I kind of just agreed. I also thought that we should completely avoid synthetic dyes, but I've never actually really done real research on this topic, so I wanted to see if they were actually as bad as these influencers made it seem. After doing research and learning about the policies, I still believe that synthetic dyes are harmful to our health. However, because of the research and lab tests I've seen, I believe that moderation is okay and it isn't the end of the world if you consume it. However, my belief that everyone should still be very educated on this topic is still extremely strong. Some of the original questions I hope to answer through my research paper was what are the policies surrounding synthetic dyes? What are the side effects of consuming synthetic dyes? How much can we consume before it's a health risk? And how prevalent is this issue? So, so what is the ADI? The ADI is acceptable daily intake, which is defined as the estimated amount of a substance that can be consumed daily without any adverse health effects. This is found by doing lab tests and studies to find that number. The ADI in America is set by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, also known as the FDA. While the acceptable daily intake is a little bit different between the different types of synthetic dyes, it generally ranges from 0 to 7 milligrams per kilogram of body weight. In terms of pounds, since we live in America, 3.2 milligrams per pound of body weight. So for example, if a person weighs 670 kilograms, their acceptable daily intake would be 490 milligrams of synthetic dyes that they could hypothetically consume daily without any adverse health effects. A person that weighs 90 kilograms would have a acceptable daily intake of 630 milligrams. So what are the potential health risks when we consume at or over the acceptable daily intake? Some of these health risks include, but not limited to, cancer, organ damage, abnormal blood parameters, and digestive issues. These are the topics that I'll be presenting today. First of all, cancer. In one study, mice were administered carmoisine, a common blue food dye, in doses ranging from 0 to 200 milligrams per kilogram over a period of 120 days. The mice fed doses at the acceptable daily intake or higher experienced weight loss and changes in blood parameters such as increased white blood cell and platelet counts. There were other markers such as increased liver enzymes and increased urea and creatinine markers also indicated increased liver and kidney stress compared to the control group. Additionally, the study also reports alterations in cancer-related genes such as the reduction of p53, a tumor-suppressing gene, which is a sign that cancer could be developing or a sign that the mouse is much more prone to developing cancer than normal. In another study, a group of researchers fed groups of mice doses equivalent to the ADI or twice the ADI. After 10 months, both groups of mice showed signs of DNA damage in their liver, while the control group were normal. Considering that there were an estimated number of 2,001,140 new cases of cancer in just the past year, It is crucial that people are educated about carcinogens and health in general. While many people are made aware to common carcinogens like cigarettes, many people are unaware of how everyday items and consumables can contribute to their cancer risk, such as the dangers of overconsuming artificial food dyes. While both tests were limited to mice, they both highlight and bring awareness to the potential dangers of artificial food dyes that could affect people when consuming at or past the acceptable daily intake, showing the importance of being educated about synthetic food dyes and their policies. Next, we will look at the effects of synthetic food dyes on our organs and how they can lead to organ damage and digestive issues. One study showed that when mice were administered tartrazine, a common yellow food dye, above the acceptable daily intake, they saw a significant reduction in protease, the digestive enzymes that are responsible for digesting proteins and peptides. In another study, mice were fed sunset yellow E110 and carbamazine. They showed signs of disrupted gut bacteria, liver, tissue damage, and biochemical imbalances in the blood, which is no good. These studies again both highlight the importance of staying aware of what we eat. I believe that America progressively gets more and more unhealthy every year because of the lack of education about synthetic food dyes and nutrition in general, honestly. I hope that this presentation could teach you something, even if it's just a little bit about synthetic food dyes, and helps you be more of what you consume. So some opposing views that I presented in my research paper is the perspective of companies that sell products with these synthetic food dyes. If synthetic food dyes are so bad, why do companies keep using them? It is important to remember that many of these companies' main goal is to maximize profits and sell as much as possible, which synthetic dyes are really good at. First of all, since synthetic dyes are significantly cheaper than their natural counterpart. Artificial food dyes are extremely easy to mass produce, making it much cheaper and available for companies to use, while natural dyes come from more expensive sources like beet juice, berries, bark. Some of them use bugs, minerals, etc. Another advantage that they have is having a significantly longer shelf life. Because of the synthetic nature of these dyes, they are less likely to degrade or change over time and due to environmental conditions, which is very important for the companies selling their products. Another thing is performance-wise. Synthetic dyes produce colors that are much more vibrant and prominent than natural dyes. These make their products more appealing to consumers and also help hide deformities and imperfections in their product better. Synthetic dyes are also flavorless and stable. Natural dyes tend to affect taste and change over time because of their nature. Because, berries, beets, bark, they all have taste you can't really remove. And they also degrade very easy like natural products do. Think of how bananas, fruits, avocados, for example, they all start turning brown when you leave them outside for too long. Synthetic dyes completely remove this flaw as the chemicals that were made to keep the synthetic dyes keep them stable and the same color no matter the condition of the food or environment that they were exposed to. Lastly, synthetic dyes are much more efficient to produce. As mentioned previously, synthetic dyes are extremely easy to mass produce compared to the natural counterpart. Natural dyes have to go through processes, one being fermentation, that takes much longer and are harder to produce in the same quantity that synthetic dyes are produced in. For a company that has a sole goal of selling as much as possible, they need the product to back it up, so synthetic dyes are much more appealing. In summary, synthetic dyes are just superior to natural dyes when it comes to monetization and selling a product. Another thought that people might have is as long as we consume under the ADI, it should be fine, right? Yes, in moderation, consuming these synthetic dyes should be safe. However, as I mentioned before, 60% of all products at grocery stores contain synthetic food additives, many of which are also contain synthetic food coloring. This statistic, however, also accounts for actual produce, vegetables, meat, organic items that have no actual processing on them. When taking out the produce, the statistic would go way higher. So just to list a few items, ketchup, mustard, ranch, other condiments, Skittles, M&Ms, most candies, yogurt, cereal, sports drinks, soft drinks, fruit cups, baked goods, salad dressings, smoked salmon, pre-made meals, ice cream, trail mix, canned foods, pet foods, applesauce, baby food, instant oatmeal, instant noodles, Doritos, Lay's, Fritos, Cheetos, most chips and generals, most crackers, bath bombs, soaps, hygiene items, medications, cake mixes, pies, and fast food, and a lot more. When consuming synthetic dyes under the ADI, there are usually no symptoms and they were deemed safe. However, considering the Western diet, many people consume many of the products listed and consume ultra-processed foods, many of which contain synthetic food dyes. Many of these people are probably consuming more than the acceptable daily limit and are prone to many of these health risks that have presented earlier without even knowing. In conclusion, it is extremely important that people are educated on nutrition and the things that they put in their body, in this case, synthetic food dyes. As a general rule of thumb, people should stay away from ultra-processed foods and eat them in moderation. Also, eating natural produce is a great way to prevent overconsumption of synthetic food dyes. Here are my references if you want to read them. And yeah, thank you for watching my presentation. And yeah, thank you.